We're back. Episode 9, Bits and Bytes podcast by Byteworks. We are super happy to be back in the studio with all of you. We got a great guest with us, back for his second appearance. Yep, we're pumped. We got a lot of information to share on an event that we just went to and wanted to get it out to the community. So just as a refresher, the Bits and Bytes podcast was created to share key updates, innovations, and trends and best practices in the technology space. Our goal is to create a community to learn and grow from each other, bring subject matter experts, leading manufacturers, and some of our key upcoming partners that have launched some great innovations with us to share that out to the broader community. Because what we found is that while many people are looking for something, when they get a solution, many others are looking for that solution too. So goal of the podcast, we spent about 20 minutes here. We give you enough information to learn and want to find out some more. We've been hosting a lot of webinars that go deeper with subject matter experts and stuff. But this is light, airy, give you some good insights into what we're seeing out there in the market. So I'm Matt Scott, co-host Joey.
Hey, everybody. That's all I got. I don't know. It's been a while, guys. I feel like I'm a newbie back in the studio. Feels like it's been months.
Joey looks a little tight over there. We gotta loosen him up again. You know, he wasn't all this serious on episode 1. So
okay, here we go. Let's start over. Ready?
Getting the shakes.
Back for episode 9 and feeling fine. Here we go. Let's do it. Big time.
Yeah, big time. And we got big time with us. So Jeremiah Plaskett, as you all know, he's a co-partner and leads our collaboration practice. So we're excited to have him with us today. Jeremiah, as always, he recently was in San Jose at the Cisco Webex One conference.
It was actually in Anaheim.
Anaheim. Oh, that's right. Anaheim Marriott. My bad.
It's okay. I can edit that, Matt.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that's why we don't do these live.
But I won't. I'm going to keep it in there.
Of course. But that's how you guys know that we're real, we're honest, we're authentic. And that is actually something that we like to keep it here at Byteworks is, true speak, true talk, authentic. Looking forward to hearing about his takeaways from Webex One. So why don't we just open up with that, Jeremiah? Key thoughts, insights, high level. How was the event?
The event was great. It was a couple months ago now. It's been a crazy end of the year here. Actually, now we're into 2024. So the event was in October. It was a great event. It was the first in-person Webex One. The first Webex One was only a few years ago. And I believe it was in 2020, if I remember correctly. It was supposed to be in person. And then, of course, we all know the pandemic happened. And so it ended up being a remote or virtual only event for the first couple of years because of that. And so this year was the first hybrid event where you got to go in person or attend remotely. And it was a really great conference and a lot of great announcements from Cisco. I love the direction they're going in with their Webex platform. And I'd say the three biggest takeaways, obviously, first and foremost, was all the announcements that they delivered around AI. That was definitely the predominant conversation throughout the whole conference.
Seems to be such a buzz right now. So that's one of the things I want you to dig in for us a little bit.
Absolutely. So. The second thing they talked a lot about and had a lot of sessions on was all of the development efforts that they're doing, with APIs and SDKs to various different technologies within the Webex app itself and within the whole platform. And then a lot of announcements around the overall video device improvements. They made a lot of great announcements about their partnership with NVIDIA and bringing AI into their codecs. And so that was really awesome as well.
That's great. That's great. If you were thinking about one of those, like just kind of trying to prioritize here, what do you think the biggest impact for helping customers leverage the Webex platform a little bit more? Is there anything that pops out to your mind that they launched that you said, wow, this is a big idea. This has a lot of legs.
Overall, what Cisco has done with Webex over the last 3 to 4 years is really astounding. And it's funny because when the pandemic happened in 2020, they were behind the 8 ball a little bit as far as their overall cloud platform. Cisco's long been the market leader in collaboration technologies, especially from should say, mostly from an on-premises standpoint. What they've had to do is catch up a bit the last few years as far as their cloud platform goes, and they've made just remarkable strides in that respect. And so I was just really impressed overall with their attention to detail in regards to the entire experience of the platform. One of the main focuses that they've discussed was, the hybrid workforce now. I mean, that ever since, and it was starting to happen a little bit pre-COVID, but definitely the pandemic kicked it into overdrive. And so now we're in this state where the workplace is literally changed all across the world, and especially here in the States. And so you have to, as a company, be able to provide a hybrid experience to your workforce that allows them to be engaged and inclusive regardless of where they're working. If they're working, in a rural area with low connectivity, if they're working from home, if they're working from a coffee shop, if they're, traveling a lot and working from various hotels. The key is that you have to be able to provide your workers an environment now that allows them to work from everywhere, but also gives them the tools to feel like it's distance zero. That's what Cisco calls it. That's the marketing term they put behind it. I actually kind of like it. It's the distance zero work environment.
Yeah, I love it. That's kind of similar. We talked a little bit about this when we first started talking about the platform on our earlier episode, but they've made even strides in the last 6 months since we did that on making the people feel as if they're there in the room with them. So being able to, speaker track and, really lean into the different video layouts of the screen to, actually make it feel like you're not talking to a room full of distant people, that they're right there across from you in the room. And so I'm excited to see what else they have, because I know that they're moving fast on that. I'm sure you probably saw a bunch of
For
that.
sure. And Cisco's actually ahead of the game on this. And that's what their approach to the collaboration platform is different than a lot of the competitors out there, different than the Zooms of the world, of the Microsofts of the world, of the, all the other cloud partners of the world. What they've taken is it. And I've probably used this analogy before somewhere, but I like it because it fits. And they've kind of taken the Steve Jobs approach to the platform. They want to have the software and hardware working seamlessly together for a superior experience. And when you look at their approach to that, they've really nailed it. And it's a lot like the difference between, the PC platform and the Apple platform, frankly. There's pros and cons to each, all right? In my opinion, one's a superior end user experience, and it focuses more on the end user and making it intuitive and easier to use. Where, the other way is great too, especially for technical people, because you get more control and more knobs to turn, so to speak. So there's arguments for both ways. But Cisco taking this approach that's focused on the end user and making it as easy and intuitive as possible, I think separates them. What they did back in 2015, actually, in partnering with NVIDIA to develop their video hardware, they use a NVIDIA product with, I believe it's called the Jetson module, which is AI, basically. It's taking hardware and AI capabilities and putting those together. And you mentioned it with speaker track, some of the early AI capabilities of the devices, right? Speaker track, the ability to, automatically move the camera without human interaction to focus on the person that's currently speaking. That was some AI technology. And then presenter track, the ability to follow a presenter as they move. And so those were the first things. But now at Webex One, one of the big focuses, that they talked about is taking AI to the next level throughout the whole platform. All right. And really, it's fascinating because, what does that mean? Okay. So that means, using AI to add extra context to the meetings and to pick up, cues that gives the system context. For example, if you walk into your conference room and you're in a meeting, by the way, 85% of conference rooms out there in the enterprise are not video enabled. So,
That's eye-opening.
Yeah.
That's kind of tragic because 98% of meetings have at least one remote participant?
Correct. Yes. And so, you have a lot of conference rooms out there where there's just, old school star-shaped conference.
You're giving me PTSD.
And yeah, a little off track there. But the point
you're right.
is that they're now incorporating AI into their codecs, and the new feature they call the AI codec using this NVIDIA technology and other things within their hardware, to where the hardware works together. The microphones, the speakers, the cameras, they all work together and pick up different cues. And they use artificial intelligence technologies such as real-time media modeling and large language modeling. And they use that stuff to pick up context. Like, for example, if I'm in the meeting, for one, the room can tell who all the participants are. It does facial recognition. It knows Matt's here, I'm here, Joey's here. And then if I happen to walk out of the meeting and leave early, it's going to know that I had to leave the meeting early. Mm-hmm. And so then I can talk to it later using the AI assistant and say, hey, what did I miss?
Yeah.
And it knows I stepped out 15 minutes, and it will summarize what I missed. And so that's the direction that AI is going in.
I had not heard of that, Jeremiah.
Right.
That's
within
so
the video
smart.
devices. Yeah. And that, like, one of the big new features of the Cisco conference rooms or Webex conference rooms that's coming out is, cinema mode. And that's using this AI technology where you can have multiple cameras, and it is like a true production. Like, you have a production crew there, where if someone stands up and walks around, a camera will focus on them and automatically frame everyone for remote participants. So even though you're sitting across from me, or you're sitting to the right to me, or whatever the case may be, the remote participants sees us in the order that they would see us if we were in the room, and they constantly see all the faces of the participants. So that's where Webex and Cisco has really started to leverage generative AI in order to do these things. And it's pretty, not just generative AI, but AI, I should say AI in general.
You're scaring all the video editors from the Bits and Bytes podcast.
Yeah.
Good job.
One thing that I did see G2 Patel talk about during his keynote was how large language model orchestration is deciphering not only what's being said, but the voice, tone, and inflection. So it can actually read the vibe of the room. It can tell maybe who's upset, how it was said, because we all know this. When you send somebody a text message, it can be interpreted 1,000 different ways. And 999 out of 1,000 times, it's wrong. Right? So this kind of eliminates that obstacle in a carefree kind of way.
Yeah, that particular piece of the AI, I liken to ChatGPT in a way. So let me explain why I say that. Because you've got different types of AI. And, not to get super nerdy here or anything deep into AI, but AI is really fascinating, and it's really game-changing technologies. The AI that you're referring to, some use cases. Let's talk about some of those use cases. So let's say, you've got the Webex Contact Center product, and you've got agents in that product. And that's where the AI really can just deliver a whole new experience. Because like you said, it can, see the conversation or read the conversation or hear the conversation, depending upon what equipment's being used and how that meeting is occurring. And then provide extra context. And for example, AI is listening to a tense conversation between a customer and an agent. Mm-hmm. The AI can actually provide things to say to the agent to try to help diffuse the situation. Okay. So it's kind of like, having a script there, but it's a dynamic, instantaneous script that will adjust depending upon what's happening in the conversation. All right. So that's within the Webex context. And I'm trying to give some examples to talk about how it fits in the actual platform. So within Webex Contact Center. Another example of it is if you're, using the messaging, you're having a message or a chat with someone through the messaging application. It can, offer suggestions on how to answer it or how to word it better so that it sounds more professional. Or if you want it to sound more sentimental, you can choose those sorts of things. So that's exactly what that large language model does, is the ability to understand those conversations and provide, responses based on context.
So one thing that I thought about, Matt, you mentioned PTSD. I have it all the time during meetings, right? And not with Cisco products, but mainly with ZOOM, if you know what I mean. And what happens is packet loss. Packet loss happens to everybody. You mentioned rural communities, it can happen there. But what it does is it messes up the recording. Mm-hmm. And unless you have a wizard video editor at your disposal, it can sound like there are sheep talking.
Yeah.
You can't can't hear them correctly.
Right.
We've all been part of that. So if you're an organization having, an earnings call, an annual meeting where things need to sound tight, where that recording's being shared, it kind of makes sense to make sure that the fidelity is 6 times better than the industry standard. And that's what comes baked in with that Cisco product you're talking about.
So yeah, that's specifically what handles that piece of it. Is the AI codec that they've got built into the hardware now, and it's quite amazing. And I shouldn't say it's just the hardware. It's a combination of the entire platform. There's AI technologies in the cloud that helps with this. There's the hardware that you have on your premises, and of course the applications, all that. But what it does, to give you an example of that, one of the main goals of Cisco in bringing AI technologies into the collaboration space is to make sure that they provide the most penultimate, exceptional experience with audio and video. And you're absolutely right. And that's all part of their vision for a hybrid workplace and an inclusive work environment to where, regardless of where people are joining, again, in a rural area with poor connectivity, they can still have crystal clear audio and video. Now, easier said than done, right? But this is where the AI comes in, because getting a little bit geeky for a minute, what it's doing is it's basically redundantizing, and I don't know if that's a word, but it's redundantizing the actual packets that are going out. Okay, I'm going to get a little nerdy for a second, but any communication, whether it be audio and video, when you're dealing with networking, it's packets that's being transmitted.
Yeah.
And so what we often hear, let's say I'm in a rural area and I'm on that call and I'm hearing the sheep talk that you're talking about. I may hear the first word, and we've heard it on our cell phones, for example, when we're traveling. We've all had that poor audio experience where you can't quite hear someone. Well, what it does is, let's say you and I are talking, and I'm talking to you, and so the packets are flowing in your direction, and then you're talking to me and packets are flowing back in my direction. It redundantizes it so that first frame, it's going to have, let's say, hi, Joey. I say that. It's going to have, and all you hear is hi in a normal bad connection. Well, it will actually include extra packets in that second send that has all of the first ones and the second one. It's making sure that you
don't miss anything.
You don't miss anything.
Right.
And that instead of sending individual packets singularly,
right,
it's sending, that first packet, and then the second packet has the first packet with it and the second packet, and the third packet has the first, second, and the third packet, and normally it's just, packet. So that's, I'm dumbing it down as best as I can, but that's exactly what that AI is doing. It's redundantizing the conversation so that on your end, and the end result is, and I've seen this demoed, it's quite miraculous. You can be on a super, super poor connection, very, very low bandwidth, and you're on your end going to hear crystal clear audio.
Yeah, up to 80 to 90% packet loss, and it's still crystal clear.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if it's 100% packet loss,
Good luck.
but if you're dealing with, very, we've all been in those hotels with horrible Wi-Fi. We've all been in those rural areas. It's dramatically different. The other thing that it does it uses similar concept with the video. I was just speaking about audio, but with video, it does the same thing. It's called super resolution, and it's sending, redundantized packets so that the receiving end is always going to have, even after multiple frames, the original packets to piece it back together. And that's what the AI does is if it receives the first packet, the second packet, the third packet, and there was a loss along the way, the second packet didn't get through, that third packet's going to have whatever was in the second packet in order to repiece the conversation together. And it all happens instantaneously. Like the end user doesn't even notice that that's happening. And so it's quite game changing.
So like high quality without the high bandwidth, I guess would be a way to put it.
Correct.
Awesome.
So when we talked a few months ago, one of the key groundbreaking elements was the integration to be able to use a Microsoft product through Cisco hardware. Did they elaborate any more advancement in that at the event, or did they? Because it was just coming out at that time. It wasn't really, how does this work? What does it look like? What are the steps that need to be taken? Maybe like a little bit on the progression there.
There's some additional features are now supported, which is great. I test that. I will give both Microsoft and Cisco credit, realizing that, hey, there's a market for us to work together. Okay. And it's actually going to result in a better overall end user experience, regardless of the platform, if we do work together. Mm-hmm. So it's no, surprise. It's understandable that a lot of people use Microsoft Teams as their platform for meetings and collaboration and calling and everything, right? And, a lot of people use Webex. But what Microsoft does not have, even though they have the cloud platform that has a lot of the same services that Webex offers, such as messaging, such as meetings, such as calling, they do not have the high-end video devices that Cisco has. Mm-hmm. And they realize this. And what they were in a situation of, a lot of customers were on Microsoft Teams, but were having very poor experiences on the platform with the video devices because they go through a process of, they support multiple video devices. They intelligently made this alignment with Cisco to where, hey, you can have the really high-end video devices in these conference rooms that are Cisco branded, and you could still stay on the Microsoft Teams platform. And so what's great about these particular devices is that you can choose to have them registered to the Webex platform or the Microsoft platform, or even both. And so it ends up, like I mentioned, being a better overall experience for the end user.
Yeah, in fact, it actually upgrades the quality of the Teams experience. It
does, because a lot of the features that the devices support within these Cisco devices, you can actually use within a Microsoft Teams meeting, which you couldn't use otherwise.
Yeah,
and so it's definitely results in a greater end user experience.
Often higher quality video than the systems that were put together for the Microsoft Teams, because I know that the Cisco hardware is super high end. So the video quality is top notch. So I'm sure that even the video quality is leaps and bounds better as well.
Yes,
from the room.
Yeah, all the technology that Cisco's innovated within their devices, such as noise suppression and noise canceling, and the video quality of it, all of that's in there, even on the Microsoft Teams meeting platform. So it benefits Cisco too, because it benefits Microsoft and Cisco. It benefits Microsoft because they can bring these higher quality video experiences to their platform and still keep Microsoft Teams in these environments where they want Cisco hardware. And it benefits Cisco because they can sell their hardware into these environments that would otherwise be a Microsoft environment.
And also let them experience the power of Cisco, because it truly is definitely a different experience. So I have one question. This is not a plug, because Joey, remind me what we don't do here. What do we not do?
It's a new year. No pitch slaps.
Yep, but this is just out of, a lot of these, we talked about these AI improvements, and they're upgrading the devices as it goes and implementing them and integrating them. But, as our customers know, as we know, we like to be looked at as an extension of our customers' teams. A lot of times they have competing resources, not enough budget, not enough time. How can our customers take advantage of getting to deploy these new AI features, or learning about them, or learning how to integrate that into their business model? I mean, I know the natural answer is, hey, collaborate with us, hop into a managed services relationship with us, or, do an innovation project with us, allow us to, upgrade you into the latest and greatest features. But is that the right road that our customers would take, or how do we help them? Because that's always our goal here at Byteworks.
The simple answer is that, you just dip your toe in the water, and try it out. And so, of course, we help our clients with that, setting up demos and proofs of concept and things like that. I'd say, collaboration is so much different than it was 10 years ago when, it was a phone system and maybe you had a video conference room, or VTC as they called them back in the days. A couple of those, if you're a bigger company, most smaller companies don't even have, like I said, 85% of conference rooms are still not video equipped. But now it's so much more than just a phone system and a video meeting. It is a complete platform for collaboration. And what we like to specialize is aligning it to your business requirements and workflows. Okay. And that was actually one of the big announcements at Webex One, and I mentioned that I went to several sessions that demonstrated those integration capabilities. And I'm going to get into the developer side for a minute. Let's say you bought a phone system in the past, and so you've got a phone system in your company, and you've got a PBX, if you will, you've got this different technologies. Integrating it into your business workflow was a huge thing back in the day. You'd have custom development, all this stuff. Now what you've got with these cloud collaboration platforms like Webex is all these SDKs and API capabilities where you can integrate things like your CRM, whether it be Salesforce or productivity tools like Basic Ops or Seismic. There's ways now that you can integrate your collaboration platform to align with your workflows of your employees. And that, to me, is the approach you should take. You should be thinking about, how can I make my company more efficient and more productive and make our workflows more streamlined? And so the approach we take, obviously, there's the basic checkboxes: phone system check, messaging system check, meetings check. Those are all great, but if you can take those and integrate them with the other tools that your employees use in their day-to-day work life, all right, and make it all accessible and is part of the workflow through the Webex app, and through the calling and messaging and video, and that's where it's all about. That's the direction that companies need to be thinking about. They need to be thinking about streamline their workflows and using the collaboration platform to help meet their business objectives, and again, to make it to where they have that work environment that is a hybrid work environment that engages people regardless of where they're working from.
So is that a strategy session with them? And I know that we do a lot of those, and just sitting down and saying, hey, what's your roadmap? What's your goal? What are we looking for from outcomes, of your business to be able to do that might not be optimized today, or, you might not be fully taking advantage of it. So
right.
That's what you'd recommend is, sitting down with us and having that level of conversation. We do this, just so that everybody knows, we do this with a lot of customers. But I wanted to make sure that we captured that so that, if somebody's sitting out there and they're like, wow, these are great features, or, oh man, I don't know how to do that. I don't have enough time. This sounds really cool, but I don't know how to go learn and integrate all this. Well, that's why we're here, right? And that's what we want to, take and upscale and upsource your business to make it deliver on what you're looking for. So
another key thing that, kind of touches on that, I think, is that, a lot, again, in the past, when you got a phone system for your company, for a lot of people thought, okay, we got a phone system, that's for internal stuff, for internal interaction and collaboration. And then we'll have a separate system, like a contact center system, for our external collaboration. Unifying those systems and bringing them into all the systems that you use from workflow, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So that same collaboration platform can meet all of the requirements of the business, internal and external, to your external customers, and actually help with the overall customer experience.
Yep.
Both internal to the company and external.
Another thing that can be often overlooked that isn't on the forefront of a lot of people's mind is what makes the Cisco Webex platform secure? Like, what makes it a cut above the competition? Because I don't know if Byteworks, one of the focuses is having a secure network.
Yep.
And collaboration platforms now are targets for bad actors, right? We've seen it with Zoom. We've seen people infiltrate meetings, get personal data, PII. So that's a huge thing as we enter 2024. What are some takeaways from Webex One that you can share with us?
That's a good, there were definitely some sessions that focused on security at Webex One, but in general, what I can tell you about the Cisco platform from a security standpoint, the Webex platform from a security standpoint, it is encrypted all the way through. In transit, at rest, fully encrypted solution. All your messaging, if you're using the Webex platform, is encrypted, and all of your audio and video, all of that's encrypted. You'll notice when you're on a Webex, you get a nice little lock. If you look at the information, you can see that it's encrypted. But their approach, they've got a tagline. It's built in, not built on, or added on, or something to that effect. I can't remember all the marketing, but they're serious when they say that. But what I boil it down to is, you guys know, Byteworks, we're a DoD partner. We've worked a lot in the DoD space. We understand that their security requirements are very stringent. Okay. The Webex platform is the only platform that has been certified by all of the primary agencies that needs to certify those sorts of things. So FIPS compliance, NIST, you name it. All right. So it's just, and I've somewhere in all my my material, I've got a nice little chart that shows this of all the different things that they've been certified and basically passed a rigorous certification process in order to do. They are completely secured, and I'm very, very confident on the security overall of the platform. The other thing that's interesting to know about Cisco is that they don't have in-house security. They because if they're watching their own backyard sort of thing, of course they're going to say it's secure, right? Yeah. They actually have third parties validate them all the time. Nice. And that's the one thing I'll say about when you're researching these platforms is really looking at, okay, what sort of certifications have you passed? What sort of, gateways have you gone through? And is your security, standards being audited in-house or external? Because again, a lot of companies will, put that encryption sticker on their stuff, encrypted, secure, this, that, and the other. But all the auditing is done in-house. So they've built their own security department that says, hey, this is secure. Whereas what Cisco does is they actually push it out to the market and say, hey, are we secure?
Yeah, that's great.
They push it out to all the agencies. Hey, are we secure? And so that approach is to me one of the big differentiators.
Yeah, it leads for blind spots. I mean, if you're creating your own thing, you only know what you're creating. So
exactly.
It's definitely a point of differentiation there. Well, Jeremiah, we're coming up on our time. Really appreciate you taking time and spending a few minutes with us, sharing what you're seeing out there. I know some of this stuff is not yet in the market and coming. Others of it is. I would remind everybody, we'd love to have a conversation with you if we could help. That's what we're here for. We want to get you.
One more big quick thing I had in my notes here. The other big thing that I spent a lot of time on at Webex One, playing with and demoing and just really getting in the weeds on was the Webex Connect, which is their collaboration platform as a service offering, which that basically, it ties into the Webex Contact Center offering, and it just opens over 16 channels of communications that you can have with your clients. And what does that mean? Like, imagine that whole customer experience thing I was talking about, where if I'm running a company and my customers are going to, X.com, formerly Twitter, or what's all Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn. If my customers are going to all these things, those are channels that they're trying to find out about my company or trying to get help. And so it's no longer just you have a voice call center anymore. You've got to have a voice call center and have an actual human answer the phone. But the true end-to-end customer experience is incorporating all of these channels that we have now. Because let's face it, kids, I say kids, but the younger generation is growing up to where they don't call the customer service anymore. They, send them an Apple iMessage. They go to their Facebook page.
The amount of messages when I owned a business that I got through Instagram as a private DM that was like a customer service message was eye-opening.
Right. And so that particular product is called the Webex Connect. It's really powerful in bringing in all those extra channels into your company to be able to answer any sort of inquiry, regardless of the medium that your clients are going to.
Single pane of glass. That's really good.
That's true experience.
That's awesome.
So I just wanted to
that's great. That's I know that we're pushing on our time threshold, but that is absolutely something that we want to learn more about, and also just kind of thinking about what you were just saying, Jeremiah, is by having that level of information and that accessibility when your customer service rep or whoever's on the other end of the line, you're that much more aware, knowledgeable of who you're talking to and how you can help them best. So I'm sure that there's going to be some measurements around level of service and how it raises the bar.
Then because, having all those channels and having visibility into it all, you can start to build your customer's journey is what they call it.
Yep.
But basically all that context and history, and then you can use AI so you can help filter out and answer questions, quicker and easier, which then reduces your overall workload of the company. So it's a win-win.
Yep. All back to the experience.
Yep.
We're actually doing that with HubSpot right now as our CRM. They're pulling in a lot of all different feeds and levels of communication so that we have a greater visibility. So that's huge. Really appreciate you taking time out of our day, sharing with our audience. Number 9, feeling fine.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Bits and Bytes podcast. We out.
Big time!